government told us that it was ready, it was prepared. It is not.
Many now finding that the chaos isn't over even if they make it to land.
It was evacuated, simply overwhelmed by migrants.
It's not that speaker that we're inviting who has these extreme radical views, as you say. These are general views that every Muslim actually has. Every Muslim believes in these things.
عندي لهم غضب كبير بهذا الشيء انهم طلعوا لبرا لانه نحن هون بأزمة كبيرة. طيب هنهم طلعوا، مين بده يحررنا هون؟ مين بده يحافظ علينا؟ نحن شرف هون.
بأهله ما انه يتركوه يروحوا ويتركوا البلد هيك يعني، ومين من كان عم بتشطر وبيجي وبده يسوي حاله يعني.
So I will ask you, everyone in the room, how many of you are normal Muslims? You're not extremists, you're not radical, this is normal Sunni Muslims. Please raise your hands. Everybody, mashallah, subhanallah. Okay, take down your hands again. How many of you agree that men and women should sit separate? Please raise your hands. Everyone agree. Everyone agree. Brothers and sisters. Subhanallah. So it's not just these radical sheikhs then. Allahu Akbar. Next question. How many of you agree that the punishments described in the Quran and the Sunnah, whether it is death, whether it is stoning for adultery, whatever it is, if it is from Allah and His Messenger, that is the best punishment ever possible for humankind. And that is what we should apply in the world. Who agrees with that? Allahu Akbar. Are you all radical extremists? So what's the politicians gonna say now? What is the media gonna say now? That we're all extremists? We're all radicals? We need to deport all of us from this country? Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Takbir! Takbir! Takbir! May we have the next question, please?
Rotherham is a town steeped in regret. Everyone, it seems, is sorry. Sorry about the sheer scale of abuse, and sorry too about the enormity of the failings which allowed it to continue. But for the victims and their families, the question is, will it go beyond being sorry?
A week now since the shocking revelations of the large-scale child abuse in Rotherham came to light, the whole scandal is still shrouded in a fog of secrecy. More than 1,400 young girls were abused over a period of 16 years, mainly by men from the town's Pakistani community, a community where any hint of abuse was routinely underreported.
Sorry's not good enough. It's not good enough. Should have acted all these years ago and stopped it.
Would Channel 4 News argue that race is not an issue at all in this? After all, the reason that the blind eye was turned is because race was an issue. Had these offenders been from a different race, I suspect more would have been done earlier. And I think that, that is not an extraordinary thing to say. That is pretty much an accepted fact.
Blonde jenter mobbet og farver håret sitt mørkt. Barn blir truet med juling fordi de har salamipølse på brødskiven I matpakken. Gutter med innvandrerbakgrunn truer norske gutter med juling dersom de ikke får mer spilletid på fotballaget.
Tag ist das bestimmt noch überschaubar, was da so passieren kann. Aber abends möchte ich allein nicht unterwegs sein.
Nee, selbstverständlich hat man Angst und Dunkelheit, jetzt frei auf die Straße zu gehen. Und das hat ja mit dem Alter nichts zu tun, ob man jung ist oder ein bisschen älter ist. Also das wird ja immer schlimmer hier.
Im Zusammenhang mit den bisherigen Überfällen fahndet die Polizei nach diesen Männern. Sie sollen etwa 30 Jahre alt sein und werden von Zeugen als Personen mit südländischem Aussehen beschrieben.
In Sweden, which does not usually report the nationality of rapists, a just-released study by Swedish police revealed that Muslim men, who constitute only 2% of the population, are responsible for 77.6% of rapes, giving once peaceful Sweden the highest rape rate in Europe.
Entire parks and public spaces have basically been transformed into vast, unofficial migrant camps full of large rubbish dumps. Apart from everything else, the smell of this trash everywhere is absolutely overpowering.
There's lots of disease in these camps, and I'm scared for our children around here.
It had been 40 minutes since the concert began. There were a lot of people in the room. It was almost full and in the middle of a song. We heard detonations coming from behind and heard screams.
A sea of flowers after the horror. On Friday night, La Belle Équipe was packed. When gunmen opened fire, 19 people were killed.
I'm in Times Square, where security has been beefed up in the wake of the terror attacks in Paris. Now people here and around the country are on edge, wondering if an attack could be imminent on our shores.
They're telling us they're going to do this. Of course it's credible. And anybody that thinks it's not, look at Paris. They tell us on a daily basis they're coming. Every single day we get warnings. Every day they tell us they're going to do this. If you don't know they're coming by now, you're a moron.
As we struck France in the center of its abode in Paris, they say, then we swear that we will strike America at its center in Washington.
When you want to talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world, I would argue that liberals have failed us. The crucial point of confusion is that we have been sold this meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
It says that we mustn't ever use the word Islam in any sentence that includes the words violation of human rights. This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen. I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion.
Police and Islamic protesters have been injured as anger over an anti-Muslim film spreads to Australian streets.
Just behind me in front of the US consulate. It's now been said that a text message was sent out which saw this rally come together in the heart of Sydney. The text message read, "We must defend the honour of our Prophet. We must act now."
Just voicing our opinion. Yes. That's the least we can do.
You cannot mock the greatest, most influential human being that ever walked the face of this earth.
Police rushed in reinforcements, while some in the crowd tried to calm the rest and failed.
Onlar hepsinin canı cehenneme. Öyle Allah'a inanmayan.
Hayvan abi onlar, insan değil.
Nasıl ya? İnsan abi, bildiğimiz insan. Nasıl hayvan oluyor?
Öyle insan olmaz abi. Yani bizim gibi insanlar değil onlar.
Allah belalarını versin. Yakaladığım yerde tek tek onları şırıngayla kan alırım onlardan. Taktım mı arkadan çıkar. Ya ben şimdi bakayım abi, ateş işte. Allah peygamberine inanmıyor işte.
İnanmıyor ama bir şey anlatmaz mıyız ona yani? Anlatalım. Gidelim İslam'ı anlatalım ona.
Abi işte verelim, onlar da gırtlak kessinler.
Bristen på så kallat utländska svenskar i SSU och partiet som ett problem, utan att vi, den vita majoriteten, är så många. Och det är vi som måste förstå att vi är problemet och vi måste förändra vårt sätt att vara.
In December, an Iraqi-born immigrant tried to plant bombs at a Swedish street mall. Luckily, his bombs malfunctioned. He only blew up himself in his car. Then, at the end of the month, Sweden and Denmark arrested 5 Islamist militants and accused them of planning additional terrorist attacks.
In 5 days, the whole discourse of the whole country changed. You know, we were in a state of denial. Every time we talked about the threat, people were charging with stigmatization, with islamophobia. Now, it changed.
Critics say immigrants cluster together, refuse to learn Swedish, and live off the country's welfare.
And I assume, are you an American? You're an American citizen. So as an American citizen, you sat in this room and instead of standing up and saying a question or asking something about our 4 Americans that died and what our government is doing to correct the problem, you stood there to make a point about peaceful, moderate Muslims. I wish you brought 10 with you to question about how we can hold our government responsible. It is time we take political correctness and throw it in the garbage where it belongs and start calling it fair.
مذيعة بوصف مجتمع السعودي بأنه يعني يتعرض إلى غسيل دماء، وهذا شيء غير مستغرب بتاتا يا أستاذ وليد أو دكتور وليد، طالما أننا منذ سن 7 تقريبا أو 6 في سن حياتنا المدرسية الأول الابتدائي وحتى الثانوية العامة ثالث ثانوي عندما نبلغ 18 عاما، وحتى بعد أن ندخل الجامعة ونحن نتلقى ونتلقى ونتلقى ونحفظ ونحفظ ونحفظ، ومن يجرؤ منا ويناقش ويسأل أو يتساءل يوصم باستغفر الله، عليك تستغفر الله، قد الآن تقوم بما يدخلك جهنم وأنتم من تخوفون الناس بجهنم فجلبتموها لهم على الأرض، جلبتم الجحيم للناس.